Picture this: the faint glow of a single bulb flickering above my kitchen table, casting long shadows across a plate of lukewarm spaghetti I've reheated for the third time this week. My name's Celia. I'm 30, and this is the kind of quiet that doesn't just settle, it suffocates. I live in a small, boxy house on the edge of a suburban neighborhood where the streets are so still, you can hear the neighbor's dogs snoring through the fence. The walls of our home are painted a soft beige, a color I picked out years ago thinking it'd feel warm, but now it just looks tired, like it's given up on cheering anyone up. There's a worn-out couch in the living room with a permanent dent from where I sit every night, waiting, always waiting. My husband, Clinton, is a plumber, mid-30s, with hands that tell stories of long, grueling days. His palms are calloused, rough as sandpaper, from wrestling with pipes and wrenches before the sun even thinks about rising. He's out the door by 5 most mornings, and I'm lucky if I see him before 9 at night. When he does drag himself through the front door, his clothes carry this faint, stubborn smell of metal and sweat, like the day's work clings to him no matter how hard he tries to shake it off. I used to tease him about it, back when we'd laugh over little things. Now, I just nod as he mumbles something about a clogged drain or a busted valve, and then he's off to shower, leaving me with the echo of his boots on the hardwood. I sit at that kitchen table most evenings, staring at the empty chair across from me, the one with a tiny scratch on the armrest from when we moved in and got careless with a box. That chair used to hold conversations, dreams, silly arguments about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. Now, it's just a placeholder for silence. Our talks these days are clipped, functional. Did you pay the electric bill? Can you grab milk on your way home? I miss the sound of his laugh, the way it used to fill up the room like it could push out every worry. I miss feeling like I'm more than just a name on a shared lease. By day, I keep myself busy as an administrative assistant at a local insurance office. It's the kind of job where the hours tick by in a blur of emails, phone calls, and coffee runs for people who barely remember my name. It's fine, it pays the bills, but when I clock out and drive back to this quiet house, there's nothing to fill the void. I've started noticing how the loneliness creeps in like a fog, slow at first, until I can't see past it. Some nights I catch myself talking to the walls just to hear a voice, even if it's my own. I've started to feel invisible, like I'm fading into the background of my own life, a ghost in a home that used to, so here I am, sitting in my drab little cubicle at the insurance office on a rainy Thursday afternoon, the kind of day where the gray sky seems to press down on you through the window. The hum of the office surrounds me, keyboards clacking, phones ringing, the occasional murmur of a coworker griping about a deadline. My desk is a mess of sticky notes and half-empty coffee cups, but my eyes are glued to my phone, hidden behind a stack of folders like I'm some kind of spy. My fingers are trembling, actually shaking, as I tap through a booking site, securing a room at a motel on the edge of town. Every click feels heavier than the last, like I'm signing away a piece of myself. I punch in my credit card details, hesitating over the final digit, my heart thumping so loud I swear someone's gonna hear it over the copier's drone. But I hit confirm, and just like that, it's done. A confirmation email pings into my inbox, and I stare at it, feeling this weird mix of relief and dread pooling in my chest. I glance around, half expecting someone to call me out, to see right through me. But no one does. They're all too busy with their own monotony, heads bowed over spreadsheets or sneaking glances at their own phones. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting a sterile glow over everything, making the beige walls of my cubicle feel even more like a cage. I've been planning this for weeks, turning it over in my mind during those long, silent nights at home. But now that I've taken the first real step, guilt starts creeping in like a shadow I can't shake. I think about Clinton, about the way he'll come home tonight, exhausted, expecting me to be there with a tired smile and a reheated dinner. My stomach twists as I rehearse the lie I'm about to tell him, the words bitter on my tongue before I even speak them. I pick up my phone again, this time to call him. My thumb hovers over his name for a good 10 seconds before I force myself to press it. The line rings, and each tone feels like a countdown to something I can't take back. When he answers, his voice is rough, worn out from a long day already, and I can hear the faint clank of tools in the background. I clear my throat, and my voice comes out unnaturally high, almost squeaky, as I spin my story about a late office meeting, some urgent project that just can't wait. I'm rambling, over-explaining, saying too much about deadlines and teamwork, and I hate how fake I sound. There's a pause on his end, a heavy one, and for a split second I'm terrified he's caught on. But then he just sighs, that tired, resigned sigh I've heard 1,000 times, and says, "All right, just be safe, Celia." His words hit me harder than I expect. A punch of trust I don't deserve. Here I am, sitting cross-legged on a lumpy motel bed, the kind with a scratchy comforter that smells faintly of bleach and regret. The room is dim, just a single lamp on the nightstand casting a weak, yellowish light, but the glow of my laptop screen is bright enough to make my eyes sting as I hunch over it. The walls are paper-thin. I can hear the muffled hum of a TV from the room next door, some late-night talk show laugh track cutting through the stillness. My fingers hover over the keyboard, hesitant at first, as I stare at the chat window that's just popped open. It's Mark. Mark, of all people. Someone I've known since I was a kid. A family friend who used to sneak me extra cookies at holiday parties when my mom wasn't looking. We haven't talked in years, not since life got in the way, and we drifted to opposite ends of the world, or at least it feels that way. But seeing his name there, blinking in the corner of my screen, brings this rush of nostalgia. A tiny spark of something warm in the cold emptiness I've been carrying around. I type a quick hello, keeping it light, asking how he's been, what he's up to these days. His reply comes fast, casual at first, just catching up on the basics. Work, family, the kind of small talk you'd expect after so long. We reminisce a little, laughing over memories of backyard barbecues and the time we got caught trying to climb the neighbor's tree to spy on their pool party. But as the minutes tick by, the conversation shifts, like a door creaking open to a room I didn't even know I'd locked. I find myself typing things I haven't said out loud to anyone, not even to myself in the quiet of my own head. I tell him how unseen I feel, how Clinton and I have become strangers sharing a roof, how I sit at that kitchen table night after night staring at an empty chair, waiting for a connection that never comes. My fingers move faster now, the words spilling out like water from a cracked dam. I tell Mark I feel like a shadow in my own life, like I'm screaming into a void and no one hears me. His responses are slow at first, like he's weighing every word, but they're full of this quiet empathy that catches me off guard. He tells me he gets it, that he's been through his own rough patches, nights where he's felt just as alone even with people around him. He shares a story about a time he sat in his car for an hour after work, just staring at the steering wheel, not wanting to go home to an empty apartment. It's raw, real, and it stitches this invisible thread between us, a bond I haven't felt in so long I almost forgot what it's like. I lean closer to the screen, the blue light washing over my face, and I type out things I've buried deep. How I dream of being truly heard, of feeling alive again, of waking up without this ache in my chest that I can't name. I tell him about moments I've imagined running away, not forever, just for a day or two, to see if anyone would even notice I'm gone. Every message feels like peeling back a layer of myself, exposing something raw and vulnerable, and yet there's this strange relief in it, like I'm finally breathing after holding my breath for years. The hours slip away without me noticing. The motel room grows colder, the cheap heater rattling in the corner, but I don't care. My world is this tiny glowing rectangle, these words flying back and forth, this connection that feels like a lifeline. I tell Mark things I've never dared to voice at home, desires I've kept locked up tight, how I long for someone to look at me and really see me, not just the version of me that pays the bills or reheats dinner. He doesn't judge, doesn't pull away. He just listens, or at least that's how it feels through the screen. And it's enough to make my chest ache with something I can't quite call hope, but isn't far from it. There's a fleeting moment where I thought I'm driving home from that motel, just as the sun starts to peek over the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of pale gold and pink. The world outside my car window looks different somehow, like I'm seeing it through a filter I can't quite name. Maybe it's the lack of sleep, or maybe it's the weight of everything I poured out to Mark last night still lingering in my chest. My hands grip the steering wheel a little tighter than necessary, the leather cool under my palms as I replay our conversation in my mind. Every word I typed feels like it's etched into me now, both a comfort and a haunting. I told him things I've never dared to say aloud, things I've barely admitted to myself, and there's a strange solace in knowing someone out there heard me, really heard me. But there's also this gnawing fear, a whisper in the back of my head asking what I've done, what line I've crossed by letting those truths spill out into the open, even if it was just through a screen. The streets are quiet this early, just a few delivery trucks rumbling past and the occasional jogger braving the chilly dawn. I turn onto my block, the familiar sight of our little beige house coming into view, and my stomach twists. Clinton's truck is already gone, which means he's off to work, probably left before the sun even thought about rising. I pull into the driveway, cut the engine, and just sit there for a moment, staring at the front door like it's a portal to a life I'm not sure I belong in anymore. My reflection in the rearview mirror catches my eye, dark circles under my eyes, hair a mess from running my fingers through it all night. I look like I've been through something, and I guess I have, even if it's just a battle in my own head. I drag myself inside, the house silent except for the faint hum of the fridge in the kitchen. The air smells like the coffee Clinton must have brewed before he left, bitter and stale now. I drop my bag by the door and head straight for the bathroom, desperate to wash off the musty scent of that motel room clinging to my skin. The hot water cascades over me in the shower, and I stand there longer than I need to, letting it drown out the noise in my mind. I scrub at my arms, my neck, as if I can rinse away the guilt along with the smell of cheap bleach and regret. But it doesn't work. Every time I close my eyes, I see that chat window, Mark's words glowing in the dark, and I wonder if I've opened a door I can't shut. After I'm dressed, I sit at the kitchen table with my laptop, that same scratched chair across from me mocking my solitude. My fingers tremble a little as I open the device, the screen lighting up with a harsh glare. I stare at the chat app icon for a long moment, my heart thudding in my chest. What if Clinton somehow saw something? What if I left a trace? The paranoia creeps in like a thief, silent but suffocating. Before I can talk myself out of it, I click to uninstall the app, watching the little progress bar tick along until it's gone. I let out a shaky breath, feeling a fleeting sense of control, like I've erased what happened. I don't even think about the cloud backup. Don't consider that those messages might still be floating somewhere out there, waiting to be found. I just shut the laptop and push it away, as if distance can make the whole night disappear. The next few days pass in a blur, each one feeling heavier than the last. I go through the motions, work, home, dinner, sleep. But there's this undercurrent of something I can't shake, a mix of guilt and longing that tugs at me when I least expect it. At the office, I catch myself checking my phone more than usual, half hoping for a message from Mark, even though I deleted the app, even though I told myself I wouldn't reach out again. I don't know what I'd say if he did contact me, but the silence feels louder than ever. I resist the urge to reinstall the app. I'm standing in the doorway of our living room, the weight of the day still clinging to me like damp clothes after a storm. It's late, later than I expected to be home, and the house feels different tonight, charged with something I can't quite place. The only light comes from a single lamp in the corner, its weak glow barely reaching the edges of the room, leaving shadows to pool in the corners like spilled ink. The beige walls look even duller in this half-darkness, almost gray, as if they're mirroring the heaviness in my chest. I see Clinton before he sees me, sitting on that worn-out couch with the permanent dent, his broad shoulders hunched forward, his calloused hands resting on the edges of my laptop. My laptop, open. The blue light from the screen washes over his face, carving out every line of hurt and anger etched into his expression, and my stomach drops like I've just stepped off a cliff. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat as I realize what he's looking at. He doesn't look up. Not yet, but his voice cuts through the silence, low and raw, reading aloud words I never meant for him to see. I just feel so neglected, Mark. I want more than what I have here. Each syllable lands like a punch, echoing in the quiet room, and I feel my knees go weak. Those are my words, typed in a moment of desperation in that dingy motel room, words I thought I'd buried when I deleted the app. But there they are, glowing on the screen, exposed like a wound I can't cover up. My mind races, scrambling for how this happened, and then it hits me like a slap, the cloud backup. I forgot to disable it, didn't even think about it when I wiped the app from my device. We share an account for storage, something we set up years ago for convenience, and now it's betrayed me, laying bare every secret I thought I'd hidden. I step forward, my sneakers scuffing softly against the hardwood, and Clinton's head finally snaps up. His eyes meet mine, and I've never seen them like this, wet with unshed tears, burning with a pain so deep it steals the air from my lungs. His jaw is tight, like he's holding back a flood of words, and I can see his hands trembling as they grip the laptop, the same hands that have fixed so many broken things but can't fix this. I open my mouth to say something, anything, but my voice cracks before I can form a sentence. Clinton, I start, but he cuts me off, his voice shaking as he reads another line. I just need someone to really see me. He stops, his breath hitching, and the silence that follows is heavier than anything I've ever felt, pressing down on me until I think I might collapse under it. I stumble over my words, frantic to explain, to make him understand. It wasn't like that, I swear. It was just words, just talking. I never met him, Clinton. I never even thought about it. I was just so desperate for someone to listen, to hear me. My voice breaks, splintering into sharp edges as tears prick at the corners of my eyes. I take another step closer, my hands reaching out like I can somehow pull back the hurt I've caused, but he flinches, just slightly, and it stops me cold. I've never seen him look at me like this, like I'm a stranger, like I've shattered something between us that might never be whole again. He closes the laptop with a slow, deliberate motion, the click of it shutting sounding like a door, slamming on everything we've built. His hands stay on the lid for a moment, fingers splayed as if he's trying to hold onto something slipping away. When he speaks again, his voice is quieter, but it cuts deeper than any shout could. How could you share this with someone else, Celia? I thought we were in this together. Each word is laced with betrayal, raw and unfiltered, and it tears at me, ripping open a guilt I've been trying to outrun since that night. The days after that confrontation feel like I'm walking through a thick, suffocating fog. I wake up each morning with a heaviness in my chest that doesn't lift, no matter how much coffee I drink or how many times I try to distract myself with mindless tasks. Clinton's taken to sleeping on the couch, that worn-out piece of furniture with the permanent dent, now a makeshift barrier between us. I see him there in the dim light of early morning, a blanket pulled up to his chin, his face turned away from the bedroom door, as if even in sleep he can't bear to face me. Our conversations, if you can call them that, are reduced to the bare minimum. Curt exchanges about bills or groceries, words clipped and sharp, like we're both afraid of saying too much. The air in our little beige house is thick with unspoken things, a tension so palpable I can almost taste it, bitter and cold on my tongue. I spend those first few days in a painful limbo, replaying that night over and over in my head, his voice reading my words aloud, the hurt in his eyes, the way he flinched when I reached for him. I'm desperate to fix this, to claw back some semblance of what we had, but I don't even know where to start. I try small things at first, tentative steps toward rebuilding the trust I shattered. I leave little notes for him on the kitchen table, scribbled apologies on sticky pads, my handwriting shaky as I pour out my regret. I'm so sorry, Clinton. I never meant to hurt you. One reads, though the words feel hollow even as I write them, like they can't possibly carry the weight of what I've done. I suggest in another note that maybe we could talk to someone, a counselor, anyone who might help us navigate this mess. I don't know if he even reads them. They sit there untouched when I get home from work, but I keep writing them anyway, hoping one day he'll pick one up. I take bigger steps too, ones that feel like cutting off pieces of myself. I make sure every trace of that chat app is gone from my life, not just uninstalled but wiped from every device, every account. I delete Mark's contact information, block his number, erase every digital footprint of that night as if I can scrub it from reality itself. It's a hollow victory, though, because I know Clinton's already seen the worst of it, those words glowing on the laptop screen, burned into his memory. Still, I do it, hoping it shows him I'm serious, that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove I'm done with that mistake. A week passes, each day dragging slower than the last, until one evening I come home to find Clinton waiting for me at the kitchen table. That scratched chair across from him is empty, but he's sitting there, hands folded, staring at the wood grain like it holds answers I can't see. My heart stumbles in my chest as I drop my bag by the door, the thud of it echoing in the quiet. He looks up, his eyes still carrying that deep, wounded look, but there's something else there too, resolve, maybe, or exhaustion. He gestures for me to sit, and I do, my legs shaky as I lower myself into the chair, feeling like a child about to be scolded, though I know I deserve worse. He takes a deep breath, and when he speaks, his voice is steady but laced with a sadness that cuts me to the core. I've been thinking a lot, Celia, about us, about everything we've built over the years, about our vows, and about this hurt you've caused. He pauses, his jaw tightening for a moment before he continues. I've weighed it all, turned it over in my mind 1,000 times, and I've decided to stay. I'm not walking away, but I need you to know the trust, it's fractured. It's not what it was. His eyes meet mine, and I feel the weight of his words settle into me, heavy as stone. Then he adds, softer, almost like he's speaking to himself. I love you, Celia, but this scar won't fade easily, and we'll need time to heal together. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.